Today we're going to be diagnosing a parasitic drain on this car. That's when the car sits for a couple days or a week and you come out and the battery's dead, but the batteries tends to test good. Something's drawing power while the car's sitting there and you can't figure it out. So first thing we're going to do is disconnect the negative cable of the battery. And for tools, all you're going to need for this is a digital multimeter. Doesn't matter if it's a cheap or expensive one. Or a test light, or if you're real fancy, a infrared or thermal camera would come in handy, but you don't absolutely need them. You want your car doors closed and hood popped, everything off in the car, and if it's a newer car, preferably all your doors closed and sitting for at least a minimum of 10 minutes. Make it 15. If it's a new car, maybe upwards of 30 minutes to an hour for all your modules to shut off. If it's a car with just keyless entry and an alarm, real basic, say like mid 2000s or so, maybe 10 minutes you'd be good. If it's something brand new, maybe upwards of 30 to an hour, just for everything to, all your modules to finally go to sleep and shut off. But make sure you have everything hooked up and in place prior to you waiting. So you're gonna want your multimeter hooked up prior to you waiting that amount of time. Okay, so first thing we do, we got all the doors closed and we're ready to go. We got our multimeter on. We're gonna have the positive lead in the amp slot, the negative lead in the comm slot, and we're set to the amp setting, the 10 amp setting. We're gonna take the negative lead and we're gonna attach it straight to the negative post of the battery that's been disconnected. I just got a hose clamp on it to hold it in place. And then I have the battery cable hooked up to the positive lead of the digital multimeter. And as you can see on our multimeter, we're pulling approximately 2.48 amps. So something is drawing 2.48 amps of power right now on this car. So the easiest way to start is to look at your fuse box. So I got my fuse box open over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to start pulling fuses until something makes this number fall off. Now on an older car, it might drop to 0. On a modern car, it will probably not drop to 0 because of all your control modules and other items that don't technically completely go to sleep. But we're looking for a big fall off because something's drawing power here. I've already checked this one. I already know what fuse it is. It happens to be this one, but I'm gonna pull this fuse out. And as you can see, pretty much drops almost to 0. I put the fuse back in and the draw comes back. That one happens to be for the shift interlock solenoid. So the shift interlock solenoid is stuck, shorted to ground, something's going on with it, and it's causing a 2.4 amp draw. So now we know where the problem is. So another way to check this is with a shift light, and I kind of prefer this method sometimes. So what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect the multimeter, and we're going to connect this simple test light, old school test light. We're going to hook that up just like the other one was. And now we got a light. So here, now we have a light telling us we have a draw. When I pull the fuse out, the light goes out. The reason why I like this is if you need to go inside the car, you'd obviously have to close all the doors, get underneath the dash and start pulling fuses. So as you pull fuses, you can look up through the window and you can see if that light's gone out or not. It's kind of hard to look at the multimeter. You could put it up against the window, but it's a quick, easy reference to kind of look over and see if the light's out or not, especially if you're working in a garage or something, somewhere where it's not super bright and you can see the light. So that's why I like using the multimeter. Another method is with a thermal camera. If you let the car cool overnight in a garage and everything's the same temperature, you can open your fuse boxes up. You can use a camera and look for any fuses that are hotter than the others. Go ahead and look at your fuse diagram and you can see what that item is tied to. Or you can put it on items around the engine bay, say your alternator or a starter, and see what's drawing power. Doesn't just have to be fuses. A lot of common issues are alternators, tend to be one, so you can disconnect your main wire going to your alternator and see if that's the issue. That's a pretty common issue. Could be a sensor. You can disconnect sensors and see if that's your issue. Another common one I've seen a lot is like Amazon Chinese radios tend to draw power even when the car's off. So just remember, We're doing this test with all the doors closed, hatches closed. If it's a newer vehicle, get the keys as far as humanly possible away from the car to keep it from trying to transmit to the car during these tests. Whenever you're pulling fuses out, if you pull a fuse out and the light goes out, you need to look at your diagram and see what that fuse is for. And that should point you to the direction of what the culprit is of your parasitic draw. A normal parasitic draw for a newer vehicle is typically in like the 20 milliamp to 80 milliamp range, depending on how many different modules a car has. A older vehicle could be 0. It could be up to like maybe 15 milliamp. If you're not seeing a parasitic draw, you may need to turn your multimeter to that MA for milliamp draw rather than the 10 amp. I just typically go to the 10 amp one first so you don't blow the fuse in your multimeter. If you don't see any results, go ahead and turn it up to the milliamp range first to see if you get a result. And hopefully this helps. Hopefully this video is helpful, and feel free to comment if you have any questions.